Welcome, everyone, to the new episode of the Mind, Body, and Tech. Today, we have a special guest who is not just a tech enthusiast, but a true ecosystem enabler, Mo Salah. With a decade of experience in technology and entrepreneurship, Mo is on the mission to empower minorities and create a more inclusive future. In this episode, we will dig into the routines that keep him energized, how he sets and achieves goals, and the tech tools and trends he believes are game changer. Let's begin. Mo, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you and excited because I love how you're addressing the topic and how you like addressing the personal slash health side of it because I don't think a lot of people care about that side. Usually, people are like, okay, what were your KPIs last year?
Yeah,
And
that's
they're
right.
important for sure. I'm not undermining them, but just like success cannot come at the cost of our bodies. This is what I personally think.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with important part of entrepreneurial life because this world is full of high pressure, right? So, how do you manage stress?
Um, when I was, I think, 22, I met one of my mentors. One of my mentors told me something that I would never forget, and I think I'd live by that rule for the rest of my life. And he was like, um, "The world is a plate. You have a plate in front of you, and if you don't have your priorities set right, you will keep adding stuff to your plate until your plate is full and you cannot focus on what you actually have or even the stuff you want to bring in." So he was like, if you want to have a balance in life, you have to offset everything you don't need on your plate and bring in the stuff you care the most about. I think there's two ways of addressing stress, especially at work. Number one is like trying to do as much as you can your job in the best possible way. Jeff Bezos always talks about this. Stress mainly at work comes from the fact that you know that you're not doing the right job. And I very much agree to that. I think most of the stress at work comes from that part. And then there's part that comes from politics, other things at work, but that's something you mostly don't have much control over it and you need to learn how to ignore it and live with. But the part on your side where you're doing the best job possible, or the best job possible, I don't mean by the best job possible is the best job in the world. I mean the best job possible, taking into consideration the situation, the resources, your abilities, and all the factoring for all the things that affect your work in a way or another. The other part for me is like if you don't have priorities in life and you care about too much stuff at the same time, you won't be able to not necessarily not only excel, but like you'll always be stressed because you always feel like you're missing on something. But if you follow, it doesn't have to be work. If you follow 10 sports at the same time, you will not be able to catch up to everything happening in 10 sports unless you have nothing else in your life, maybe. But if you follow one sport, your resources are going through that. Most probably, you can go like attend live events from that sport, or one artist or two artists. So I think the two things I do mostly are basically trying to do the best, take into consideration what I have in terms of like I'm doing, and try to focus on what matters and focus on two three things at max at once, and think of those things. Are I keep asking myself every morning, are these the things I want to do for at least the next year or two, and are these things fall in for my long term goals, whether for my career or for my life.
Mm. Yeah, nice one. How about like you have you're wearing many hats, right? So you have different roles. What do you think? What role does emotional intelligence play in your leadership in your everyday life?
Oh, intelligence comes in many forms, and the emotional part of it is important, especially when you deal with founders, because at least in the last few years, I've been doing mainly programs to support founders. and it takes a lot of craziness and a lot of boldness to just stop your life and like, hi, I'm starting my own business, or I'm starting, and starting my own business is something, and starting a startup is something else. You have investors, you have so many stakeholders. It's not a lifestyle business, it's a startup, and startups are crazy, has to be grown rapidly. So I think it's important, um, but it's also a lot of it is managing expectations. A lot of it is being realistic with the world you live in, and what you can achieve and what you can't achieve, and what can be achieved on the short run and has to be achieved in the short run to allow us to achieve what it has to be achieved on the long run. So there is an author called Mo that I'm a huge fan of his one of his books. One of his books argues that expectation is the thief of everything in life, and I think expectation is the thief of happiness to start with, and it's the thief of also friendships and relationships. The more expectations you have, the more you want the world to do to you, versus showing up to give first before taking. The more you will be disappointed, and the more you will hate whatever you're doing in life, because you're not happy. Your expectations are not matching the reality of whether it's your work or your life. And if you go, and I like to use the example about friends. We, or should we, have different groups of friends? Like, the friends I travel with, not necessarily are the ones I can go have a meal with outside. I need to have my foodie friends, and both groups are not necessarily the ones I can go attend the Formula One race with. So managing expectations as a founder, or as anyone in general, will help a lot with your emotions toward work and emotions toward people. And I think the less emotions you have, and I don't want anyone to quote that as like, don't have emotions. No, have emotions, have passion, have determination, be everything that your business or your idea or even your life needs. But there is negative emotions. There is emotions that hurts, and the most important one of them for me, or the most prominent one that hurts, is, oh, people have said no to me. And and it's not only people saying no to you that hurts. The cost of you saying no to others that also hurts, and people don't want to accommodate for the cost of that. So a lot of people will be like, I want everything, like I want to say yes to everyone. But they don't understand that a yes to Sana right now is a no to one of my friends who wanted to meet at the same time.
Yeah.
Just to use a very, very simple example. So if you say yes to a partner or a client, that means you have to say no to the other clients if you have limited resources. If you try to say yes to every client and every partner and everything in life, you and your team and everyone around you will not be able to accommodate for all the yeses you said. So to eventually, you will understand every yes is a no. And the people who tell you no also have their priorities, and they have to tell you no, because if they tell you yes 99%, they cannot do the yes they promised you, and now your expectation is not going to be met, and now you're going to be mad at them, at yourself, and eventually life, and you start crying about like life being a harsh place. And it is a harsh place, but we can make it harsher on ourselves. And having your own business or your own startup can be harsh, lonely. It's already a tough journey. Don't make it. I don't think you should make it harder on yourself.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And I'm always thinking about my time the same. It's like, okay, do I want to what do I really want to do? And sometimes it's so hard to outsource things, because we are so tend to do something by ourselves, especially when you're solo founder. But there's so many opportunities like Fiverr, for example. It You can get rather cheap resources
I
to
don't want.
outsource simple things, simple tasks, but which are eating your time. Because yes, we all limited resource of time. We all have this. So this is your choice how to spend your time and pursue some goals, right? So yeah, thank you for that. All right, so let's talk about
If I can add something here,
yeah,
I think the worst thing that there is two things startups does, they're worse than not outsourcing. Actually, not delegating and trying to
yeah,
build things everything themselves. Like, man, you're building a startup that actually do one, two, three, four. But in order for you to do one, two, three, four, 90% of that job was done already before. There's plugins out there, there's technologies already in place. Imagine if I open a startup and like, okay, we're not gonna use Gmail, we're gonna build our own mail client. And we're
oh
not
come
gonna
on.
do and we're not gonna use AWS for hosting or Google Cloud. We're gonna build our own hosting. And I meet founders who are not necessarily trying to build their own hosting, but they're trying to build everything. Like their KYC, their payment gateway. No, you don't need that. Like that exists in the world already. Just drag it, like drag and drop it. That's one. Two, you have the founders who don't want to delegate anything to their teams, and they want to micromanage either micromanage everyone, or do every job by themselves. And then comes the outsourcing part. I don't think Fiverr is cheaper talent. I think it's how much you value your hour versus how much else someone else value their hour. So if you value your hour at $100, and there's someone else can do a task that it's gonna take you an hour for $90, because this is how they value their hour. That hour should automatically go to them, because your 100 is you're losing $10 here.
Actually, wonderful book, Almanac by Roald Navikant. Everyone should read it because and actually what I've seen from my work with founders, it's they have trust issues when they not delegating. So we are digging deeper into this and I'm like asking why you don't trust your team. And then they start to think differently because this is absolutely 100% trust issues. It's not about your team. You trust your team, right? Right. But what's going on? Whom don't you trust? Yourself, maybe. So, it's very complicated problem. And yeah, many founders have
The
this
false sense of ownership.
this one too, but they don't understand that this sense of ownership. It's important for your team. You need to give this to your team. That's how you became a team, basically. You cannot be a team otherwise.
We have a lot of micromanagers in the world who would argue against you.
Oh, I know, I know.
I'm not one of them. I'm a huge fan of not necessarily delegation, but I'm a huge fan of taking less tasks on my plate. So, but you will meet people in the world who are so happy trying to do everything in the world and working 20 hours, and they take pride in that. And
Oh,
unfortunately, we have prominent businessmen like Elon Musk, for example, who are promoting um, such a unhealthy, to be
oh,
polite, and unhealthy behavior.
yeah. But many people, many founders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, everyone, different people, learning hard way that you cannot pursue like this. You cannot stay on the top of your mountain alone, doing everything by yourself. You will burn out. That's it. So, all right. Let's talk about decision making. I really like to talk about decision making because each and one of every person have their some sort of system. Many people say that, oh, I don't have any system, and talk with me about the system. So, how about difficult decisions? What is your decision making process?
I think the first layer for me is like, is it worth it or not? Uh, and within that comes a lot of things. Firstly, is it aligned with my values or what I want to achieve in the next year or five? This is how you usually plan my goals. That's a layer. The second layer is, I'm Am I going to work with people who inspire me? I can learn from them. Or people where I'm the smartest person in the room and that's the worst room to be in ever. Third thing is like, can I afford it, financially, mentally, and all of that. So that's my first layer, which is basically my fundamentals around it. Like, can I do it? Can I afford it? All of that. And then comes the part where what tool and what how much impact it will have on me outside of work. I usually walk away from things that I genuinely believe that are not good for my physical and my mental health. They're both very connected, and my body have a way to to mess up both at the same time if I'm technically speaking not happy. So these are the fundamentally two things that I do generally when I'm looking at something, uh, the bigger picture. When I go into details, usually I split those into much smaller tasks or much smaller things. The first thing I do is what is most urgent, most important, and those are usually the ones I will personally try to do as soon as possible. And then the most important but not urgent, those will come secondary for me or will be automatically delegated if I have someone in my team can do actually those tasks. And then you have urgent but not important, those are definitely delegated. Like, I have to send this email or I have to send this calendar invite. If I have someone can do that, someone have to do that. And then not important, not urgent, most probably will not do or not ask anyone to do because they're like things that I actually not sure why they're there. I'll try to get rid of them. If I can't, I'll find someone to do them. So that's on like on a smaller scale. Um, those are like how I govern things, I would say, on daily basis. There is things that has more weight than others. So for example, a huge factor of me deciding to do something is who I'm doing it with and do I feel good about it. Who I'm doing it with have been, I would say, over the past 10 years, my main factor of saying no more than yes, like, or saying no to so many things. A lot of people will be like, you must be crazy to say no. I was like, I understand, but they're not my cup of tea. And I think when you understand and live with the fact that not every cup of tea in the world is yours, life becomes easier. Like, you're like, yeah, you guys are great. You're just not my cup of tea. And I'm also not your cup of tea. I'm going to cause more harm to you than you guys might think. And that's okay. Getting okay with your decisions is also an important factor. And I don't think I go home and regret my decisions. Like, I also, because a lot of people regretted their decisions on the later stages. You took the decision on at a certain time with a certain knowledge and with a certain experience and with the certain factors. If those factors change after 6 months, you cannot come back and like, I regret not doing this 6 months ago. It doesn't work like this. You took the best decision possible 6 months ago, so don't come and regret it with new knowledge and new experience and new other things. We make the wrong decisions all the day, but I would say I regret more yeses I've said in my life than more nos. I don't think I regret any no I said in my life. Like, I I can't recall when right now, but I do regret things that I said yes to, and I didn't do either my due diligence right, or I said yes with my emotions, not my mind.
That's nice. Not your cup of tea. Um, all right. Let's talk about your mornings because I believe that morning is a very important part of the day. Maybe you will argue with that,
No,
but
I'm not
what
gonna argue.
is your morning routine looks like?
A lot of my friends will argue against that. They wouldn't like that, what I'm gonna say, but I think my most productive hours are between 8 and 12. And I don't know any other productive hours, but our bodies are different. Everyone, my night old friends will be like, get out of our faces, but they're fine. I think my ideal morning routine that I and it used to be my morning routine, but in the past few months I've been traveling a lot for work and moved to another country and got that routine very messed up. But what I usually do is I wake up at between 6 and 7, and I drink a lot of water because I don't drink any coffee or anything that has caffeine at all. This is this is an ingredient that our bodies are. It's like insulin. Our body is self um, producing. So you don't. If you need a coffee to wake up, that means you have got yourself in a very bad place that you cannot live without a coffee because you have shut down everything you have done. You shut down the part in your body that produces that energy that carries you all over the day. So, and there is a way of measuring this, and there is tools that tells you what are your peak hours energy wise and what your down hours energy wise. And you should not be doing coffee to solve the down hours because they're necessarily for the peak coming after them. So, drinking a lot of water in the morning. Do not drink anything that has caffeine or eat anything that has caffeine because that slows down your body producing the energy needed for your day. Eventually, until shut down. Second is going to the gym, releasing or doing any physical exercise, releasing that tension, whatever you have. Before that exercise, I would do like a very very small, not necessarily a meal, but like a banana or like something that can get give my body a bit of natural energy, and then I go to the gym for an hour to two, and then I have my proper breakfast. That's my main meal a day, and if I don't have it, the day is already bad. Like if I don't have my proper breakfast, my day is ruined, and there is nothing
What
can.
does it mean, proper breakfast?
I like it's the biggest meal I have by portion a day.
Okay.
So and it's the most important one also for me as a vegetarian because I my protein most of my protein I have the day comes in that meal, whether through dairy, eggs, or other products. Also, a huge part of my carbs comes in that meal too. So it by portion and by ingredients, it's my most diverse, largest meal. And then if I don't do it, my morning is my not my morning, my day is ruined because I'm gonna eat all day an unsensible way because my body is unhappy right now. It feels hungry, and after that I get to work and do the most important few things. I would say before 12, and then from 1 or 2 up until 5 or 6. That's like the calls and meetings and all of that. Um, this is like what I try to do every day. I have days where that is ruined by different factors, taking a night flight or doing or having a super early morning and meeting in the morning or something like this. But overall, what I do is I try to eat as my food. The food I eat is I try to be one as clean as possible, as good as possible. If I can get my hands on gluten free, get my hands on um, chemical free or organic food, I do. It's the best investment you can do in life. There is nothing more important than your body in the world, and comes next to your mind. So whatever that makes my body feels happy, that's my number one priority in life.
How you come up with this? Or maybe you've been like this forever, but maybe something changes for you, or you looked for something that gives your body the best way possible to maintain your energy or something else.
At a certain stage, I had my nutritionist, and we've tried different things. And I had my BT at the gym, and we tried different things. For example, if I don't train in the morning, I cannot train for the rest of the day. Like I can't just go after work. Like I'm so exhausted to train.
Mm.
So and I'm not saying this recipe or what I'm doing as if it's a standard or something everyone else should do. This is what worked for my body. Someone else stuff. I know a lot of people who are insanely productive the second half of the day. Is that right? Is that wrong? Have these because our bodies are insanely adaptable. So whatever you want to put your body through, your body will adapt to eventually because your body also has its own self mechanism, also self defense mechanism. So if you're annoying your body in different ways, your body will try to adapt and find ways around it and figure it out. The majority of the people I know who are healthy, successful, are in an insanely morning people. Like they're way. I'm not a morning person to them, so they will be up by 3, 4, 5 a.m. max, and they will be in bed by 8 or 9 p.m. And the last thing I want to mention about that section is get 8 hours of sleep. That's there is no your sleep is like your insurance policy, or like your imagine you have a like credit on your phone, or you have a bank account that you cannot recharge,
Yeah.
and the more you use it, there is no recovery, there is no reverse to whatever bad sleeping you do, and there is nothing in the world that is worth your bad sleeping, because whatever you're trying to do right now, that bad sleeping will come and hunt you in the future, and it's one of the main reasons why people burn out to start with. So resting is as important as everything. Remember when you said that you have the peaks and energy.
Mhm.
Our day is the same. If you don't rest, you cannot perform the best. If and there is nothing wrong, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. If you need a nap, get a nap in the middle of the day. Anything that makes you feel energetic, anything that makes you feel rested, um, go for it. If you wanna work a day from home, if you wanna work the whole week from home, or if you wanna work 4 days a week, um, which is I'm very happy those both measures are becoming now global trends, and people are actually accepting them and considering them. Even governments are right now. So so if we don't rest, we will do nothing, and we're not machines. If whoever wants to replace us with machines can go ahead with and do it, but cannot expect us to behave as a machine.
100%. Absolutely. And what I've seen, like people more and more starting to realize that you can actually be so effective and efficient in these peak hours. So you can rest for several hours more. So it's fine. You cannot be always focused always so on your peak performance and so on for the whole day. It's impossible. So yeah. Let's talk about your unwinding process. How you after the day, after your work day, how you relax, how you prepare for good sleep.
Ooh, uh, okay. I I think one of the ways that relaxes me all day long is as much water as I drink. So that it's very. I'm always like I have to be always hydrated. I I drink water all day, and I go with my water bottle everywhere, whether it's like my refillable or my plastic one. Like I cannot be without water. So that one helps a lot. After work, I would usually do is I would watch something I like. I'm a huge movies fan, so I would usually watch a part of a movie, or a movie, or an episode of a TV show that I like. I don't like so many TV shows though, but like yeah, I will watch something. I like reading a lot. It relaxes. It's not only relaxes; it's like give you the sense of like you're relaxing and you're chill, but you're also learning something. I try to spend time with people I enjoy my time with. And what I mean by enjoying time with is I mean like I feel safe around them. And I'm quite picky with that group of people. Where I usually do this at home or do this at their homes. I try not to go out at all after work if I went to the office. If I went to the office on a day, I try not to go out after work because that enough light and people and exposure to so many things at once. Um, I do a lot of like quiet places, like fine dining, um, to also do that. I cook a lot also. That helps me relax. It feels big because it's also a rewarding in a way. So it's like reading to me. Like reading and cooking for me is like I am doing something that I like and also has a massive reward on spot or on the short run. So cooking for myself or cooking for others is one of the things that gives me an insane amount of pleasure.
Nice one. Um, and how what at what time you stop eating before you go sleep?
Oh, that's a day. That's something that really depends on the day. So I stop eating usually when like 2 hours before I want to sleep,
Mhm,
but I don't sleep at the same time every day. So generally speaking, I want to be asleep before midnight,
mhm,
uh, in order for me to be up somewhere where between 6 and 8. And I on some days I do earlier, sometimes I do later. On most days, I'm between 10 to 11 to 12. And on some days, I'm later because of either I'm talking to someone who's in the US, for example, that they already have an insane amount of time difference between me and them, or there is a sports event, mainly sport races like Formula One races that are happening in the US or Mexico. So that month is going to be like all weekends that month are going to be like the US last weekend, this Mexico this weekend, Brazil the weekend after, and Las Vegas the week after. So all those races are going to be happening at a very later stage of the day, like 12:01 my time. And it's not only that; it's also they're very exciting in ways. So it's so hard for me to put that excitement down at once and just put my head and sleep. So yeah, those days are gonna take me a lot of time. And usually, when you're watching something that is consuming your energy, you're gonna eat. So that's also gonna accelerate that or increase the time I need to sleep. So yeah, overall, it depends. But like I try to stop eating 2 hours before I sleep. To and I drink a lot of water in that hour or two to make my stomach feel slightly full, because a huge part of our feeling of hunger comes from the fact that our stomach is full or not. So this is why I was telling you, if my breakfast didn't work out, the rest of the day is gonna be crazy. If I didn't hydrate enough, the rest of my day will be crazy because I will feel hungry, and that's not a nice feeling for me. A lot of people I know are okay with it. It doesn't work for me. If I feel hungry, that's a very bad news for me and drives me crazy. I cannot sleep. I cannot chill. I'm grumpy. So yeah, I try to feel full. And
Okay, okay. It's nice that you know that.
yeah, I know that.
And
Like
you can prevent that.
self
So,
awareness is good. Self awareness is good.
okay, okay. Let's talk about tech a little bit. Can you tell us how you manage to stay up to date with like this rapid advancement in technology, especially when you mentor
With technology or
startups?
in general?
Well, it's more about tech
Okay. Okay.
because you know it's too fast.
Okay, it's a combination of many things, and I personally have so many topics I really like other than tech. So I'm so interested in technology, sports, motorsports specifically, fashion, and politics and economics. I'd say the political side of economics. Um, so first thing first is where I'm getting my news, and and I don't like clickbait. So I'm a subscriber to New York Times, Bloomberg, The Athletic, what else? Wired, and there's a bunch of others, and Apple News Plus. So I'm making sure that I'm getting the highest quality possible in terms of reporting across my topic, and those platforms have apps and stuff that allows you to do this customization. Recently, the co-founder of Instagram launched an app called Artifact, and Artifact is 100% customizable news app that allows you to read news on the topics you want or from the authors you want. So, for example, I like the Verge reporting and technology, but I don't like all the authors. Or the technology or TechCrunch reporting, but I don't like all the authors. So I go and like, I want Sarah, is it Fisher? Like something like this. She writes for TechCrunch, and I go follow her. And Emma from The Verge, for example. Do the same also with most of the platforms. So I have an insanely customizable experience around news. So that's my main source. Second source is thought leaders and leaders. So on LinkedIn and Instagram, very very slightly on Instagram. I'm mainly on LinkedIn because I've exited Twitter completely, deactivated my account. It's not a platform that I would feel proud being part of, especially recently. So I follow most of the people who are thought leaders or driving the change in the industries I care about. So I get to know what's happening or what's going on in those industries on spot. Um, so yeah, those two things really help me stay up to date. Third thing is I do attend a lot of events. Like I go attend a lot of technology events and a lot of conferences everywhere in the world. Like I go from Pakistan to the United States, from Europe to Africa, um, and because also there is a human element to those stories we read in the news. There is backstage stories to also those stories we see on YouTube. So I I want to meet the people behind those stories. I want to meet the people who are driving that change personally. I want to chat with them about it. I want more than a press release or more than a story written by a journalist, because journalists are unbiased anyway. They have their own interests, and they have their own personality, and maybe they want to cover a story from an angle. It's great, but it's not my angle. I want to ask the founders on the personal toll for that success, for example. Not a lot of reporters are interested in that, because this is not what usually being consumed. People want to know about fundraising, for example, uh, to the level fundraising have become the solo, I guess, success metric
Yeah,
in the startups world right now, and it's not. So
absolutely.
and yeah, so at the end of the day, reporters are people who are doing a job, and their job is to get people to read the news, not necessarily report the news. So yeah, I like to go around and read about all of that. Other than that, I also read a lot of books or have roundtables, sit and discuss technology with people. Technology is not as rapidly growing as a lot of people think. It is rapidly growing if you consume it in the news. But for example, AI has been there for a very long time. Quantum computing, people have been talking about it for 20 years. It's not like an invention or anything. But again, new if you consume technology through the news, especially today, because today we have the breaking news reporters reporting technology because technology is the trendy thing right now. But OpenAI has been there for years. No one cared. Sam Altman himself has been around for forever, and I was very lucky to meet him several times and chat about many different other things. And other than AI, it's not like only AI or like ChatGPT. It's like technology is much wider, much bigger, and it's insanely connected. People keep talking about like tech companies fighting. They're insanely connected. Like Apple pays $10 billion to Google for their Google search engine. Google pays Apple to have their, and everyone will be like, yeah, aren't they insanely big competitors? Yeah, they are, but they still have to work together. Most of the solution you're using are hosted on Google or Microsoft or Amazon cloud, and some of those solutions are actually competing with core products with Microsoft. So technology is very connected. Whatever achievement happen in an area will be spread to the rest of the industry. So I just feel like um, I, I think keeping up with technology is a lot easier than what it actually being portrayed.
Yeah, and as I understood that you spend some time to tweak with everything that you receive from the world. Yeah. So to do some very customized information pool, right? So your LinkedIn, for example, I suppose you worked with your like whom you follow, and it's not like random people, right? So okay, it's important moment. How about maybe you can share with us the biggest goal that you achieved up to today and how you get there?
It's gonna sound very weird, but I sleep better than a few years back.
Oh,
That's
I understand. I'm done.
so. If you ask me what is the biggest achievement in life, is going to bed, comfort, and sleep comfortably. I don't have it every day. For example, in the past 3 weeks, it was almost impossible to sleep because of what's happening in Palestine and Israel. But overall, I try to eliminate reasons within myself and my personal ecosystem that hurt my sleeping. So a good one thing I've done, like goals, I feel like if I look back on my 10 years, and they're silly. May sound very silly goals. One, I sleep better. Two, I travel more. They're just my priorities. I eat better. They're my priorities. They don't have to be any one priority. They
Absolutely.
don't
I
have to
mean,
be.
no, they should be. They should be because
No, I'm 100% pro free will. If you want to eat junk food and die at 40, good for you, man. If you want to smoke and drink every single day and die sooner,
yeah, it
good,
depends
good,
on
good
your
for you.
goals. Yeah.
Good for you. I'm 100% into free will, but yeah, I do believe. If you ask me that question 5 years ago, I would be like, okay, I want this job and I want to be in this place and I want this amount of money. Right now, I'm more than happy to walk off 50% of my salary if I'm gonna work from home all week, or I'm gonna work a day less, without even a second thought. I'm willing to. I've told my employers that before. I'm 100% willing on walking away from so many things I really wanted 5 years ago, and I just feel they were unworthy of my of my effort or my time or my money either. So right now, if you tell me you have a job that will allow you to travel more because you're working remotely, I'm taking it over another job that pays me maybe the double the amount of money. Happily, like I wouldn't even give it a second thought. If you tell me you're gonna make less money working with a better team, 100% without a second thought. If you tell me you're gonna work less hours a day, or you will have a job um, that is more impactful or more meaningful and closer to my core values, without a second thought. So yeah, if you ask me about goals that I have achieved,
I suppose we had some hiccups. So
okay, if
yeah,
you still hear
you
me,
back.
you
You're
still
back.
hear me. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, so all I'm saying is, in the last 5 years, I've slept better, I've slept more, I've eaten better food, I've exercised more. I not necessarily have the life I want on the personal side, but it's much better than it was. And and this is what I care about. I care about the stuff that makes me comfortable and happy. And all my current goals are around that, around my career wise. Um, I don't know. I just feel like it's inevitable. Like if you do the right work, you get to the right things. Um, and I'm not sure if it's me or the world or what's happening, but after COVID, I no longer feel anything at work on the personal side. Is that if a match of an achievement for me to come and say, hi, this is a massive thing I've done. I'll be very happy in a work context to come and talk about my work very proudly, uh, share about it. But in a setting, I don't think I talk to anyone out of work right now about work. Like my friends, I think my friends at this moment where the maybe don't know what I'm doing these days. And I'm very happy. To be honest with you, I'm very happy, not because we're not talking about work, but I'm happy because we're talking about our lives and we're talking about what we want to do next and where we want to travel or what we want to do. Or let's go have a meal and just not bother each other with anything that is unnecessary.
Wow. This is probably we are changing. And when we have some disruptive events, it changes
Yeah,
us.
COVID was my disrupt. COVID was the largest disruptor of my life, to be honest.
Yeah. For many people, actually. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was so insightful, and I wrote down several things, and probably
Please share them with. Please
I
share them with
will
me.
like rewatch all of this to get this pieces of advice. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. And I hope everyone who watch us will get something from our talk. Thank you. Thank you.
No, actually, thank you for having me. I love what you're doing, and I love the angle you're taking to things. And it's not a typical podcast or a typical talk. So I think I really enjoyed it. It was fun to come and to chat with you, and hopefully have another chat sometime soon. And we meet in person
I
eventually.
hope
So
so. Yeah.
please take
Okay.
care. Have a good day.
Thanks.